when I was, as I said, like 10 or 11 years old, and I heard Santana play, and then I started listening to Jimi Hendrix, started listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton, and then of course like Prince and all that, and I was just like, something about the electric guitar. It was like endless possibilities of the sounds you could make out of it, and I just found I connected with it. I could express myself through it. Listening to so many like records like that where you literally like just got sort of taken to another place, you know what I mean? Where you literally just lost what was going on in reality, and it was like watching a Disney film or something like that, you know what I mean, for me. So it was like listening to these records, and as I said, my dad just had so many vinyl records laying around, and I was going, well, this is what I want to do. He was just so colorful in so many different ways, you know what I mean? It's like his music and everything, he just really affected me because his guitar sound was just like, out of this world, you know what I mean? And it just took you somewhere else. So I was just like, that's what I want to do. Apart from hearing Carlos, Hendrix, Robbie, Stevie, so many different players that just like literally, there was such a big collection my dad had of so many different like players that I literally just listened to them every day. B.B. King to Freddie King, there's like endless, list of people that I listen to and just go, this is so amazing, and I would love to be able to express myself this way. So just sitting with my guitar for 6 hours a night, pretty much. People thought I was really weird at school because I was putting up like flyers on the walls and with like sticky tape going, hey, do you want to join a band? I'm influenced by B.B. King and Santana. Like, who the hell is that? They're listening to the Backstreet Boys, listening to NSYNC or whatever. And they're like, it's totally not. Like, you're so weird. I used to get beaten up at school actually because of that, because I was like, you're such a weirdo, And I used to go dressed up as a hippie, like in psychedelic clothing, and not much has changed, really. Bullying, yeah, I mean, it definitely psychologically affects you, but I think that it brought me closer to my guitar, being bullied and going, oh my God, like it was pretty traumatizing, but I felt like music was my kind of safe house sort of thing. Like listening to a record would take me somewhere that was like magical and amazing and made me feel elated. So yeah, that to me is like, I'm always grateful for that. I'm grateful for my dad for having a great musical like vinyl collection. I'm really grateful for him having that, and my mum too. But my mum kind of listened to like kind of a variety of different things, like from Frank Sinatra to Tom Jones and Michael Bolton and all that kind of stuff, and so which was really cool. But it was totally different. My dad, and then she was listening to country music too. So she had like Faith Hill and all that kind of stuff going on, and different older country records, and then my dad was just like, he's a Greek guitar player, like he plays Greek music, but he listened to rock and roll and blues. So, that was really cool. Okay, so being a female artist growing up, being a guitar player, it was not easy at school by any means. I got bullied very badly. I was literally beaten up pretty much. My guitars were destroyed. Like I would leave them on a table and they would just be like thrown off the table, and you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was quite awful. But some of my friends, I mean, they, the artist friends, they loved it. You know what I mean? Like, because I had a lot of like actor friends or painter, friends and all that. But yeah, the male guitar players, some of them loved it. One of my best friends, he was a guitar player, and we used to hang out all the time at lunch and recess, like just going to the music room and talking music, and it was great. But and then nowadays, I don't think about it. I just don't. I just think that I'm just like a musician. I try to be best I can. I don't think, oh, I'm a girl coming into the situation. I just never think of that way, and it's weird maybe, but I just don't, because I just feel like music is music and it's expression, and you got to be dedicated to it. Do your best, do your best at any moment, because your best is going to be different all the time. The first time I heard Prince, I was probably in grade 5 or 6, and Purple Rain came on, and I think it was on TV. I think Rage TV we had in Australia, which was like the music station, and he was just so freaking cool. You know what I mean? It's just like his tone, his guitar playing, and then his songwriting and everything. He just was an innovator. Incredible. When he started playing guitar, let rip and everything. And his, especially live performances, he just went off, and it was another element to the show, you know what I mean? Because he's such a great dancer and singer, and then everything was sort of choreographed in a certain way. And he was, dancing around, singing away, and then singing all these high notes and everything. Then he goes and picks up his guitar, and it's like soaring, he had those soaring leads that, it was just incredible. Working with Michael Jackson, I mean, that was crazy, and he was dancing and singing, and that was a lot to do, you know what I mean? And then Prince was dancing, singing, and playing guitar too, and it was just, they were quite similar but very different at the same time, and I met Prince in 2007. He called me after the Super Bowl performance, and I didn't think it was really him. I thought it was one of my friends, it was a joke or something. So he called me. I don't know how he got my number, to be honest. I had no idea. Private number. So I thought it was my family calling from Australia. So I picked up, and I'm like, hi. And he's like, hi, it's Prince. And I'm like, what? And he's like, hi, it's Prince. I've been watching your YouTube videos. And I'm like, you've been watching YouTube videos? Is this for real? You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to fly in with Sheila E. from Vegas, and we're going to jam at the record plant tomorrow. I'll meet you there at 5 p.m. or something. And I'm like, okay. So I call my manager. I'm like, Prince is meeting us, at the record plant tomorrow with Sheila E. And we jammed for 4 hours. And Prince played bass, I played guitar, and Sheila E. played drums. And he said, you play one of your ideas, I play one of mine. And we just went back and forth for 4 hours. And then he said to me, your record should be knocking down a door. Your first record. You have to come out with one that's just knocking down the door. So that kind of inspired me to even start a song, with that title, because I haven't finished it yet, but it was definitely inspiring for him to say something like that. And he wanted to produce my first record. And because I'd signed with a major label and all that, I don't know what was going on. I don't know what exactly happened, but didn't end up happening, but he kept on staying in contact with me, and then we hung out for 4 days. He called me the next day, do you want to come to a jazz club? I was like, absolutely. So I go there with my manager, and it was Penelope Cruz, her brother, a bunch of people all sitting around and listening to jazz. I have no idea where that jazz club was, because it was a long time ago. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. And then the next day he's like, do you want to come and watch my show at the Roosevelt? And I was like, yeah, sure. I go on at 2 a.m. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I show up there. I have no guitar with me, because I wasn't being presumptuous, oh, you want me to play? Because he didn't ask me, I show up there, he goes, where's your guitar? I was like, well, I didn't just bring it with me, He goes, well, I don't have an extra one, but I have an extra amp, because I thought you were going to bring your guitar. And I was like, oh crap. I felt so bad, because I was like, this could be so cool. But I ended up just watching the show, and that was enough for me, getting to, watch him and his band just tear up the whole lobby area of the hotel, and Terrence Howard was there, and Sacha Baron Cohen, and Penelope Cruz. All these people were around, just hanging out. And I think Terrence Howard was the doorman. So it was so funny. He just had all these people around that was okay, cool. And literally it was the craziest party I've been to, but really cool, and just wow, he just tore it up. And then he just came over to me, and he was telling me about record companies. He was telling me about different things and what to watch out for. And then he would call me sporadically. I'd hear from him a couple of times a year. I was on tour with Alice Cooper, and he would be calling me, and I'd be on the bus after a show in Russia or somewhere, with Alice, and Prince would call. So I put him on loudspeaker because Alice was there, and I said, say hi to Alice. And so Alice and him would talk, and it would be really funny, actually, and then the last time I heard from Prince was about 6 or 7 months before he passed. He asked me to be part of a special that he was working on with Oprah. And I don't know, some program, I'm not too sure exactly what it was, but he wanted me to be a part of it with many other female musicians, and he was just saying that it's about female empowerment, and that's what he was about, and so he really wanted to showcase that. He asked me if I would be a part of it, and I was like, absolutely, you know what I mean, of course. And he was like, okay, well, I'm going to come over, and have you got a tennis table? And I was like, no, I don't. He goes, well, can you get one? Because I'm going to come around, and we're going to play, and then I want to play basketball as well, and we're going to hang. And I was like, that's amazing. And then, unfortunately, he passed. I heard. I didn't believe it at first. I was like, this is not. I was in Vancouver, in Canada. I remember I was up there recording at a studio, and it was that morning. My friend texted me, and she had worked with him, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe this, And I was like, I can't believe this, you know, I don't think it's true, you know. And you just kind of, it was like the MJ, it was like sudden, and you don't think these people are completely immortal and they're going to live forever, and their music will. And it was just like, wow, like, you know, just shocking completely. He was definitely a big innovator, and his own person. You know, he just came out with his ideas, and he wanted it to be the way that he wanted it, and for no one else to sort of interfere with that, you know, connection he had with it all, you know, his creativity. So I don't know, just I think like everything, just his determination, his like the way that he sort of manifested everything into reality. You know what I mean? Like everything that he was obviously was in his mind, he created. So his world became what it was. You know what I mean? And that is incredible, to be able to get dancers, to get the band, to get everything going, the sound, the songs, the show, you know, and then present it to the world where everyone was like, what is this, you know? That's amazing, you know what I mean? Because he really sent that clear message out to the universe. He was a really great guitar player, I think. Because, you know, he definitely, you know, because he reminds me a bit of like Hendrix and a bit of Santana, a bit of, you know, quite a few different influences you can hear in his playing too, but, you know, it was him. And he when he was playing, he just meant it, you know what I mean? So every note he meant, and that to me affects me, you know, in a certain way. So when he got out there and played just one note, he would just hold on that one note, you know what I mean? And he just, it was all part of the show, because he's such a showman, you know? But at the same time, he was searching kind of the way that Hendrix was, and a lot of people do. But there was something really special about his guitar playing. Every day it's different, you know what I mean? Like, and you know, I'm not going to say that the guitar is not a challenge to play, because every day it is, you know what I mean? It's like I want to play something different, and I'm hearing it in my head, and I want it to, you know, to make those sounds, you know, through it. So constantly it's about learning, you know, it's about like getting better and bettering yourself, and try to, you know, with that connection, you know, with what you're hearing in your mind and your guitar. But for sure, for me, it's been a major like form of expression of what I'm feeling. And, you know, it's definitely something I feel at home with. When I first picked it up, like I just thought, okay, I'm going to be on this journey with this thing for a while. You know what I mean? So that was definitely when I was like 6 years old. I'm like, this is cool. And my dad's a guitar player, so, you know, he's a left-handed guitar player. So I started left-handed. And then he's like, you know, I think you should learn right-handed, because you can have a better choice when you go to guitar stores. That's what he said to me. No other reasons. Like, just go, you know. So I literally was playing left-handed guitar for like probably a month or so, not even, just drumming like an 8-chord or whatever. And then, because I was watching Hendrix, so I thought that was the way. And my dad, so Hendrix, my dad, it was like, left-handed is the way to go, you know. And then, so he restrung one of his guitars. It was an old acoustic, and that's when I learned how to play, you know, right-handed. Prince has left behind, I think, the inspiration for musicians to be able to create and just be who they want to be, and be your own person, and not listen to other people, because as an artist, we all have a voice. It's very individual, and people can't tell you what outfit to wear. You know what I mean? Like, you got to pick it. Otherwise, you're going to be unhappy most of the time, anyway. I mean, he was an amazing bass player, drummer, you know, kind of multi-instrumentalist, you know, and I just knew that from jamming with him the first time. I didn't know that, actually, and I felt like a weirdo, or kind of an ass for not knowing. Actually, when he picked up the bass, and then when he went over the drum kit, he started playing, we were jamming, and I was like, wow, like, he's freaking awesome. And he started playing slap bass on my electric guitar. He said, you should learn how to do this. And I'm like, yeah, I should, but I don't know. Like, and he was trying to teach me, and he was like, and it was crazy. It was like for a moment, and that moment was pretty daunting for me to be in that room, because it was literally when I first moved over here to the US, you know, it was like 2006, 5, 6, 7, yeah, so a couple of years in. And that's when I got the call, and I just signed with Interscope Records, so it was this whole thing, you know, and it was crazy town, I must say. Like, my head was sort of in the clouds going, is this reality? Like, I don't even know what's going on right now. I'm just very grateful, you know, this is like crazy, and I still feel that way like every day, like, you know what I mean? It's a definite dream state of being in this industry and be able to do what you love to do, getting to meet the people that inspired you, that true legends and innovators, and I'm just so grateful. You know what I mean? Like, just the gratitude that I have for everything.